Who is excited to be here? There's wine for anyone who woohoos and answers all of the questions correctly. Yes, look at that. I can bribe anyone, can't I? All right, so yeah, we know that. Shh, Emma, you cannot take all of the wine. All right, if you have any questions during the night, there's a whole heap of other little ninjas running around with these like shirts on. Ask all of them questions, not me, and you'll get the right answers. I just get to stand up here and press some buttons that have been pre-prepared for me before. So tonight's going to be a little bit different than what we normally do for our baby Xerocon stuff. So normally I concentrate 100% on Xero, but over the last 6 months since our last baby Xerocon, so 13th of September was the last time you were all in the room, I hope having fun and learning a lot. So I'm not going to concentrate on Xero 100% because there has not been a stack of new updates, which you would expect with a product that's now quite old. There's not going to be as many as what there was when we first started, and there was literally a new huge release every 4 to 6 weeks. They've pared those things back. However, the excitement now is all around the ecosystem and everything else that we can do with Xero and all of the add-on partners, and more importantly, all of the fun and exciting things that are popping up in the space that small business owners can use so that we're not having to be tied to our desk, so that we're not having to be tied to a certain spot, and so that we don't have to do those horrible paperwork things that nobody likes. We will touch on a few Xero things that are new features. There are 5 new features that have been released in the last 6 months. We're going to spend some time on the features that we find at Growthwise people aren't utilising enough. So we obviously do a lot of polls at Growthwise, and we track every single question you guys ask, whether it's by email or phone, etc. So we know the things that we keep constantly getting asked from a Xero support standpoint. And there are a whole host of features that people just aren't using. Now, this is a huge product, okay? So there's a lot of things that most of you will know about, but maybe not be using all the time. And then we're going to get into the fun stuff, i.e. the other tools that we've implemented for some of you, that we continue to implement, and shining a spotlight on some of our favourite. But remember, get up and go to the bar whenever you need to. Who uses the Xero app every day? Who's invoicing on the Xero app? Yeah, we're invoicing on the Xero app. Who's looking up their contacts? Who's like me and is directionally challenged and always has to open up the Xero app and click on the contact to find out where they are if I've got to go and see them? Or is it just me that's always directionally challenged? I'll admit it. It's just me. It's okay. It's a really good feature. You just literally click on the contact and a big map pops up, and you just click it and it says directions, and you just listen to how to get to the place. It's fantastic. It means that you can pay attention to your surroundings and all the beautiful things that we have in Newcastle. So a couple of other really quick things that have happened. There's been some changes to the PayPal setup and what you can do inside PayPal. Who here has PayPal integrated with Xero so that people can click the massive big pay now green button and they get paid instantly? Yeah, we're going to go through payment services because that's one of the features that most of you aren't actually utilising. Anyone in love with Apple Pay? Who's like one of those, tech junkies that just loves every new invention and wants to, run around with their watch swiping things all the time, other than Brian? All right, so if you are one of those tech junkies, you can now pay for things and literally inside the Xero app if you have Stripe connected to your invoices with everything to do with Apple Pay. So if you're not one of the tech junkies, it's probably not going to be your first priority, but this is the way we're going. So this integration with Xero and every single app that you could ever possibly imagine, it's going to be fantastic. We'll literally be wandering around with our watches in the next couple of years and just saying, how exciting, I just sold something, please invoice blah, blah, blah. And then Xero will tell us, oh, that's amazing, you've now hit budget for the month, and you'll go, yes, time for a holiday. I'm hoping that that could be my voice, because imagine how good that would be. Imagine if you had me booming through Xero going, great work, you are on fire and have hit your budget, or boom, boom, you only have 5 days to go and you are behind budget. I think that would be amazing. Anyway, moving on. For the nerd people who kind of are the bookkeepers and the accountants in here, we now have access to tax depreciation as well as accounting depreciation. Boring stuff, but I probably should mention it for the people who are excited about those. And a couple of little changes that I want to show to you. So we're going to prepare a sales invoice, and I'm going to do this 27 different times tonight, just so you can have a look at things. So I'm going to use Andrew's business as a new client, grower of beards, but he shaved his off. So we can all rip Andrew off about shaving his beard. And I'm going to use him as my little person that I'm selling something to. So if you're not using items and you're typing anything in, please don't. It's a terrible thing to have to do. You want to be able to utilize all the features of Xero. Let's not type anything. Picture the fact that we want to just be able to literally talk into our watch or press one button. One button, any more than one button, get cranky. One click, one button. So 7 days, $650, so cheap, Andrew. I would never press this button ever, would I? As a Growthwise client, never. Never would I put anything in the discount column. It's very naughty. So I've done my draft invoice, and who sometimes wants to think or wants to look at what the invoice would look like before you send it to the client? Yeah, preview. So you can click this button and actually get a full preview of what your invoice will look like. And for those of you who are design freaks, you're going to go, she did not use a capital letter. That looks terrible. It's okay. Challenged, I only have one hand with the microphone. But you don't only get to look at it as an invoice preview for what it looks like on the screen here. We can scroll down and you can see that I've got like online payment methods and I've got when paying by check, blah, blah, blah. But I can actually click on this nice little thing and have a look at what my invoice would look like on a mobile device. Does anyone want to have a guess at how many people are opening invoices and looking at all sorts of different things on mobile devices before they look on computer devices nowadays? Yeah, it is growing every single day. So the amount of people that are using mobile first because they're not tied to a desk 24/7 is increasing day by day. So when you're doing any of your invoice branding and your creations, you've got to make sure that you're looking at what this is going to look like on a mobile device, as well as what this is going to look like on an actual laptop or computer screen. So there's a big difference and a big shift in business owners mobile first. Just make sure you understand that when you're creating everything else. So it's not a wham bam feature that's going to save you 1,000,000 hours or anything like that. But for those of you who would have to save the invoice, then preview it, then go back and make any changes, then preview it, etc., you can do it all there. So I could quickly go, oh, I want to sell Andrew some golf balls as well, because everyone wants to put that together with development work, and click the preview button and I can have a look at what that looks like from that point of view as well. So you can just keep adding and adding and adding, and then I can come down here and click my approve button and my internet will go super fast. I could preview it again. I could attach something. Who's attaching stuff to their invoices? Yes, excellent. Let's attach, attach, attach. We shouldn't be sending any separate invoices, any separate emails. The more you can do inside Xero, the better it's going to be for your business, and the less stuff you're going to have to keep, the less questions you're going to get. Because as soon as I hit this email button, it's going to show me a full history of everything that I've ever done. It'll show me the time that the person has opened the actual email. It'll show me how many other times they might have opened the email, and you can then just click the resend reminder button as well, and that will pop through. So literally not a super exciting thing, but it is nice for those of you who want to make sure things look pretty. Who goes into the report section? Not enough of you. Do we go in there every day? No. Who's playing with stuff inside the report section? Who's created their own reports inside here? Yes, Amanda. You're definitely going to get the bottle of wine, aren't you? There's multiples, it's okay. So there are a ton of new reports inside Xero, and these reports are going to start to give us a hell of a lot more detail, but the good thing is we can customize everything a lot more than we used to be able to, and I mean an enormous amount more. Who likes to see different percentages on their profit and loss for every single thing that they've actually spent? Come on, the accountants in the room, they're like, yes, give me percentages. Who likes to actually have a look what their contacts have spent with them? How many times they've purchased with them over the last month, quarter, year? Who likes to have a look at how much they've paid certain suppliers for the year and then would love to just bargain with those suppliers because you're continuing to increase your spend? All those things are literally click of 2 or 3 buttons inside Xero, and that's it. But it's important to play around with the reports so that you can pull out the data and information that you need. So the first one that I'll go through is a profit and loss. If you're not looking at a profit and loss, shame on you. It's very naughty. No matter how much you hate numbers, no matter how much you don't understand accounting, this has to be the #1 thing that you're looking at on an ongoing basis. If I had my way, a profit and loss would always have a budget next to it because that's your meter, that's your am I going good or am I going bad? Where am I up to for the month? And if you don't understand anything at all about numbers and you're just looking at your budget analysis and just looking at are you on target or off target, it will change everything in your business. Because if you have a little birdie in your head every single day saying to you, you need to make 7 more sales this month to hit budget, how many sales do you think you'll make? 7 or 10? 10 is good. I like you, ladies. They're on the hit list. A couple more good answers and definitely some bottles of wine down here. But we're more likely to actually hit a target if we have a target in front of us and if we're looking at that target every single day. If you're not looking at it, if you're not looking at it at least weekly, you're not going to hit it. It's not going to happen for you. So in terms of being able to manipulate any of these profit and losses, it's really simple. So I've just got some data in here for July to September, and I could have just typed something in, but again, 2 hands hard. And I'm going to do 1 quarter, and I'm going to press the update button, and it's going to bring me July to September 2016. If I click on this edit button, I get this beautiful little, it's not really beautiful. There could be some differences, but it's a start. So I've got this ability now to come in and I can change things around and I can say, okay, I don't really care about office expenses, so you know, I want to put that right down the bottom or whatever you want to do. Or if I want to press this one, can't hold 2 things at once, all of those, and press group selection, I can just go admin stuff and I can group that section so it's not actually going to come up as all of those things down the bottom. Because I know a lot of you don't necessarily like to see every single line item all the time either. Who cares if you've overspent on coffee and underspent on something else? Doesn't matter. As long as overall you haven't overspent, unless you're kicking ass at the top line, and then it's okay. So I can then come in here and I can add in new rows if I want to, but the exciting part is I can add in new columns. And I can say, let's add in my budget column as an example, and I want my budget column to just be exactly like that, so I don't need to do anything else. I might then decide to add another column in that has a formula. And I might say that I want to do my normal results minus my overall budget, and that's going to be my actual formula. And then I'm going to click the done button, and then I would have a formula in there. I might decide that I want to do a percentage-based formula. I might decide that I want to do this quarter versus the same quarter last year. And I might decide I want to do it for the year before that and the year before that, and I might decide that I want to put a column in there that is measuring my growth. And guess what? If you do this once, you can save this report and it will automatically give you those results. You don't have to do this every single time you want to look at it. You do this once and you literally save the report, and once you're saving that report, job is done. So the top features that no one is using might surprise you. Who likes chasing people to pay them money? You liar, pants on fire up the back there. Put that hand down. Kim's the only person in here who likes chasing money. I suggest you go talk to Kim if you've got bad people that you don't like having to ring, and I'm sure she can help you there. But for those of you who don't like chasing money and you want to see what you can actually do, Xero has an automated reminder email list, okay? And this will automatically remind people all the time. Who is using automated reminders? Look, we've got good people down here as well. This wine is really starting to come your way, isn't it? All right. Automatic invoice reminders are on this button here. And you literally just do this. Email customers when an invoice is. 7 days is way too long, all right? Always change this. If a customer's invoice is overdue by 2 days, that's 2 days that you are funding their business. No deal. 2 days that you are funding that person's business, and unless they're going to be paying you a handsome sum of interest for that, no deal. After 2 days, you can write them a nice friendly reminder that just says, oh, I'm really sorry if you've paid this in the last couple of days. It hasn't hit our bank account yet, just resending you the invoice. Can you please pay ASAP? Who likes paying bills? Why? Why would you like paying bills? It's a terrible thing. Money's got to leave your pocket. All right, I hate paying bills, and all of you should hate paying bills as well. So batch payments, yeah, but ours are automated, so that's fine. Batch payments should be your #1 friend. Anyone who is not using batch payments to pay wages or not using batch payments to pay actual bills that they have to pay, terrible, terrible. You've got too much time on your hands. So this is our process for paying I think we've got 7 bills that normally come in a month, 7 to 9 things in a month that we have to pay at Growthwise. Everything else is automated, and trust me, we've got a lot of bills. All we do is make sure everything is importing directly into Xero. Throw some planned dates along here. We only pay bills on a Friday, by the way. Click on this nice little planned payments date, and it only shows me all bills due on, let's pretend that that's today. And all I do is click this button, press batch payment, click OK. Say it's coming from my business bank account. Pretend that I've already filled all those things in way before, because it would be automated. Click export batch file, click send remittance, paid. Literally log into internet banking, press upload ABA file, click proceed or whatever else the button is, paid. Remittance is sent, don't have to do anything else. Why would we be typing anything into their internet banking? It's just a waste of time and fraught with danger. Who would love to be able to hand this process off to someone else? That they didn't actually need to enter the bills and do the bills or all those other things. Yeah, see, lots of you, really, I can see you like. You can do that if you use things like batch payments, because you can come back in and you can ensure that no one else in your team, so there's a setting inside Xero that would say no one else in your team is allowed to update suppliers' bank account details, which means you retain control. So if a supplier's bank account details need to be updated, only you can do it. Which means every single time someone is pressing a batch payment for you to do, You know that they're paying the right supplier. You've got to understand that, you know, someone could put a dummy bill in, but again, if they're coming from a Squirrel Street, a Receipt Bank, a HubDoc, a Expensify, etc., they're going to be physical documents anyway, which again reduces the risk of fraud. You can then ensure someone else can click that button, prepare those batch payments for you, and all you need to do is authorise them. The other thing that I want to go through is not many of you have payment services set up. So do you know that there are a ginormous amount of payment services that you can automatically integrate with Xero? So that means that anytime you send an invoice out to any of your customers, they can press one button and they can pay your invoice automatically. You're not having to deal with waiting for people to direct deposit into your bank account. You don't have anyone ringing up with their credit card number and you have to swipe it through your little thingy. You're not waiting for people to come to you to swipe their credit card through. These will be all integrated and all automated. And the good thing is half of these then bring the payment side of things into Xero as well. So they automatically mark off that that person has paid you, and all you need to do is click the green button to go okay, but it marks off that the person has paid you, which means if you've got automatic invoice reminders set, it's not going to be reminding someone that has already paid you as well. So we have a couple that are definite favourites for us, for people that aren't a hospitality or retail style business that physically have a person or a terminal there that they're spending money on. But our definite favourites, eWay is one of them. The guys are really cool, nice guys. It's a very, very simple system to use, decent rates, and it automatically brings everything back into Xero really nicely. Stripe is another one, and Stripe's doing some nice funky stuff with a lot of different things, which is actually fantastic. For a lot of you, PayPal is okay as a starter. It doesn't cost anything. Yes, it's got big rates, but a lot of people understand PayPal, so they actually understand that it's easy to click that button. But while we're on the subject of getting paid, if you're using an EFTPOS terminal, so if you've got a physical location and you're doing a lot of merchant terminal sales on the spot, there's a lot happening in this space. So our favourite terminal for people who have got a physical location and have got payments going through every single day is Tyro by far. These guys are smashing it out of the park. They've got a smart account where you can do all of your batch payments, and they're pulling the bills directly from Xero automatically. They offer some of the best rates in the market. They're very easy to deal with in terms of settlement policies and going into whatever bank account you want to. They have great integrations with products like Counter and Vend. But one of the most exciting things that they're doing at the moment is they're offering what they class as their growth funding loans. So they are funding businesses and giving them loans based on their merchant terminal history and based on their merchant volume. So if you're handling a receipt and you're filing a receipt or you're filing an invoice in a folder or scanning it in and putting it in a Dropbox or a box or a Google Drive or anything like that, you are crazy. Just full stop. Full stop crazy. Because that means that you're having to manually handle something, you're having to manually enter something into another system, and you're having to manually keep those records and receipts. And if you ever want to search for any of those things, good luck. If you can search for those things, it's meant that you've taken an enormous amount of time away from the food and the coffee and the wine and the beach than you needed to. And it means that as your business continues to grow, you're going to need to put employees on to handle these small, repetitive, terrible tasks. So this space is amazing. This is the receipt space, okay? These are the companies, these are our 4 favourite, there are others, but we don't like any of those. These are our 4 favourite companies that actually handle receipts and handle invoices. Yes?
I have a question.
Yes.
How is that different to adding a receipt on your app?
Inside Xero,
Yeah.
you've still got to type in what that receipt is in Xero. These guys will automatically extract that data and put it in for you. Or if you're taking a receipt in, taking a picture of a receipt inside Xero, you've got to actually attach it to a transaction. These guys attach it to transactions for you, and there's no search functionality in Xero whatsoever. So for some of these things, most of you know Bo. He used to own a coffee shop. He decided that we were much better people to work with though, and sold the coffee shop. That's how we take it. Yay, Growthwise. But you can imagine a coffee shop. So they're buying eggs and they're buying chicken and they're buying more chicken and more chicken, sold a lot of chicken. So they're buying coffee beans, they're buying milk every day, they're buying all sorts of stuff. And if you wanted to have a look at how much chicken had increased per kilo from one quarter to the other, what would you actually need to do? Just pretend you're not a perfect child and using one of these apps. What would you actually need to do? You'd have to go find the receipts. You'd have to hope that they didn't have coffee stains all over them. You would have to hope that they were actually filed in the right spot together. And trust me, boys ran that coffee shop and there was never anything in any semblance of order. There is no way in hell you could easily have a look at how much chicken had increased per kilo over the last 12 months. Who thinks they can name every single app on the screen? Who thinks they could name 80% of the apps on that screen? 70, 60, 50? Yeah. All right. These are 1/3 of all of the applications. It's not even half yet. These is 1/3 of all of the applications that we have implemented for clients at Growthwise. 1/3. There's like 3 more pages and the guy said I wasn't allowed to try and extend. It'd be good if they could just have like one whole big row and I could have 3 different things. Someone invent that, please. But we're breaking our applications for clients into 3 different things. So there are core applications, because guess what? Accounting software doesn't run your business. As much as we love it and as much as it can streamline so many things for you, it does not run your business. If you're a hospitality client, then Counter is going to run your business. If you're in retail, then you're definitely going to be using Vend or Neato for e-commerce or Shopify attached or Vend e-commerce. You're going to be using a tool that is literally going to run your business. If you're a service-based business who is out on the road for trades, you're going to be using a ServiceMate, or you're going to be using a GeoOp, or you're going to be using something else that's designed specifically to run your business. If you're in health, you're going to be using Clinico. If you've got job costing to be doing and you're inside an office, you're going to be using something like a Workflow Max. But these are the core applications that are going to run your business. Xero is going to do all of your back office admin and your back office accounting. So as a core application, you want to ensure that you've got integration with Xero. You don't want to be typing in data. If you've got to type in sales data or you've got to type in purchases data, it's a terrible, terrible thing. If you're getting inventory in all the time, you want to ensure that you've got all of those things tracked, that you know what your margins are on every single product, that you know if there's exchange rate differences, so you know you've got to be using an app for that. You know you've got to be using an Unleashed or a Deer, or if it's mainly online, you've got to be using Neato. If you're a business that constantly has appointments coming in, then you definitely want to be using a Timely or a Clinico. There are so many applications out there right now. You've got people who are using Harvest to run their businesses. You've got people using bespoke stuff. They are core applications that are super important. If you don't have a core app that is running your business and you're struggling to use Xero to do that because it's not designed to, you need to actually come and chat to Bo. Because there are so many things out there on the marketplace right now that are literally changing small businesses' lives, that are giving them the data that they need, and not only giving them the data that they need, but also allowing them to have that full integration, so there's none of this typing stuff in, that completely changes the ball game when you're looking at your business as a whole. But moving from those core applications, a lot of you aren't using other things in your business to really help you along. So we break those things up into what we call internal applications and what we call connectors. So you may have an app that you're using from a website monitoring perspective, or a social media monitoring perspective, or something that you're doing to take payments, or something that you're doing from a lead generation or a CRM point of view, and you don't want to be shifting data from one spot to the other. You don't want to be typing in your contacts in Insightly CRM and then having to type that contact back into Xero when you need to invoice that person, or it might be Salesforce, or it might be something else. So there's a ton of connectors out there that will share information between basic different programs. So you're not having to type anything in, and you're getting a full picture in all the apps that you're using. So we are madly in love with Zapier. Just think it's amazing. Think if this, then that. So if this happens, make this other thing happen. And for the geeky, super geeky tech people, this is like so much fun. Because, you know, you could get a good tech person to build any connector for you, but if you're not one of those people, Zapier is like, you can spend hours and hours and potentially weeks and days and months just connecting things together and having a lot of fun with that. But I want to concentrate tonight on some internal apps that can really help your internal team to do a lot more. Who thinks that they have a fantastic onboarding process when they're about to hire a new person? Steph is now your brand new employee. Who's excited about that, by the way? Yes. See, that was, you're a bit sleepy. Come on. We'll get Joey to do a dance for you, and that will, you know, we'll put the pumping music back on. Internal joke, Tom gets it. But I'm your newest employee. What are you going to show me when I come to work for you tomorrow? How am I going to know what the processes and procedures are in your business? How am I going to know what the rules are for your business? How am I going to know what's actually gone on in the last few months? Who's who in the zoo? Who can I ask different questions of? What am I supposed to do in this situation? What am I supposed to do in that situation? We just hope for the best, don't we? We're like, oh, you've got to fill in that tax file number declaration thingy. If you want to get paid, and here's where the bathroom is, and here's where the kitchen is, and let's just hope for the best with everything else. How do you share knowledge?
Training manuals, verbal.
Training manuals, verbal.
Hours and hours of training.
Yep. What about something brand new and exciting that comes out today that's a sentence long? How do you share that learning between teams? Well, we use a tool called Slack for that. So who here has their mobile phone attached to them 24 hours a day? I know you people were laughing at those guys because they haven't stopped, right? It's like, look at me. We have our mobile phones attached to us 24 hours a day. Employees still have their mobile phones attached to them 24 hours a day, and we need to ensure we're catering to that. A written manual, people are not going to read. They just won't. They're just not going to read a written manual. You might have to have it for ISO purposes or something else, which is fine, but they're not going to read it. And they're not going to read a full 100-page manual either, no matter how much you tell them they need to. So people nowadays, employees, new people coming in, existing employees, want to be able to get knowledge. They want to be able to get it quickly, but they don't want to have to work for it either. So for us and a lot of clients, we started to implement just using a simple tool called Slack. So I'm going to actually go into our, come on, swipe, Slack. This will be quite scary. So please, team, don't write anything that you don't want everyone here to see in the next 2 minutes. Too late. So for us, this is our entire internal communication tool. And we are like Slack junkies. You'll never ever get this many channels and this many random things happening in Slack. But this is where everything happens for us. Likes to share when they get new clients with the rest of the team. Yep, just you. Come on. Who likes to share big wins with their team? Yep, and how do we do that? In Growthwise, we've got a song, right? Kylie Minogue's Celebrate comes on every single time we win a new client and everyone stands up and does a jig. We're terrible dancers, but that's our thing, right? And that song comes on because we've integrated our Practice Ignition, which is what we send all of your proposals out with, etc., into Slack. So we know there's a little bot that comes in that says every single time we win a new client, go play Kylie Minogue's Celebrate song. And it's a simple thing, but guess what? The team doesn't have to wait for me to be standing up going, we won, we've got another person, this is so exciting. That still happens, but they can preempt that if I'm not in the office, that actually might have happened as well. So they're simple things, they're little things, not so exciting. For us, the big benefit is the learning channel. So we physically have a channel where all of the guys are writing in every single day different things that they have learned. Some of it might be about you guys, client. Some of it might be about tax. Some of it might be a psychology thing. Some of it might be some of Bo's random tech tips for Control V, Shift, something or other. Emma's got that one down pat. But we're constantly sharing little tiny things that we've actually learned as a team, which means everyone in the team gets to know. So Andrew was in Sydney yesterday, and rather than missing anything that happens in the office, because we sit next to each other, right? So we could actually talk to one another and say, did you know I just learnt this? But people will have headphones on, they'll be on the phone, they'll be in a meeting, they'll be somewhere else. This is our communication tool. It's the tool that allows you to have those wins. It allows us to share our learning. It allows us to share what's happening from a marketing standpoint, from a social media standpoint. But it also allows us to do things like, sorry, this is everyone's email addresses, I'll click off in a second. We have feeding in every single person who registered for Baby Xerocon tonight, automatically. So every single person in our team doesn't need to log into Eventbrite to know how many people are registered or who was registered. How many people got a phone call from Emma this week to say, you haven't registered, naughty people? Maybe it was last week. There'll be a couple of you. So these are the automations that are really, really easy to bring in. We also have our clients' blogs feeding in here. So every single time one of you write an actual blog article, every single person in our team knows that you've written that blog article. And they can click on it and share it on their social media, or they can read it and understand what exciting things you guys are up to, what you're thinking about, and what's actually happening. That then means that every single person in our team is so much more knowledgeable about all of our clients than they ever would have been beforehand. We will share links in here of funny Instagram stories that some of you might do, or ridiculous Facebook posts, or we actually have search feeds coming in here of one of our clients was interviewed by Hunter Hunter, so the link went in here so that every single one of our team could have a look at it. Justin just had a nice interview by Holly from Hunter Headline, so that came in here so that the whole team could actually listen to that as well. And we'll have random things like our general channel that says who's up for Friday bacon and egg rolls, etc. But a lot of this is really, really important from that communication standpoint, and everyone in the team is much more engaged and much more into what we're doing, as well as being able to put in here really useful information. So it's a new quarter for us. Every new quarter we set our objectives and key results for the next 90 days, and I can stand up and tell the team this is our objectives and these are the key results for things that we need to look at for the next 90 days, and that's fantastic. And how long do you think they'll take to forget about those things? Yeah, some of them will be 10, but for the most part 5 minutes, because they'll go back to doing whatever it was that they were doing 5 minutes before I stood up and made some grandiose announcement. All I have to do is actually put those objectives and key results in here. And I pin those to the top. You can't see them. Some of it's confidential. I pin those to the top of the channel, and I just constantly bring that reminder in, because Slack is one of those beautiful connectors that you can remind people of everything that you want to. So I have an automated reminder every single Monday morning. Everyone in the team gets a reminder about what we're trying to achieve in the next 90 days. Those objectives are automated. Every single person in the team knows where we're up to from a metrics standpoint, because we have all of those metrics feeding in automatically. They can see our progress. Every Monday morning, we all get those reminders. This is what we're supposed to do. We also use a great little tool with Slack called Gel, J-E-L-L. And if any of you are in an office or have distributed teams or have people working on different things that you're trying to get their feedback, trying to get ideas, trying to get frustrations, etc., you need something that's going to make them answer questions every day. So for us, we want to ensure that every single person in the team is thinking about what we can do to help our clients automate their businesses every day. So every single afternoon before the guys go home, they're all filling in their GEL questions, which are automated, mind you, just gives you a reminder, please fill in your questions of the day. And the questions at the moment are all around what is an app that we could actually get our clients using that would streamline their businesses, or what are some applications or automation things that we want internally that would then help our business. What is a frustration that you've had today? So every day we're all getting feedback for what people's frustrations are, for what automation people want in their business. So there's communication throughout, which means someone else will solve that problem, right? Daniel and Joey, the 20-year-olds who look at us old people and just go, this is how you do that, what's wrong with you, can solve those problems. Or if somebody has an automation question or an issue that's a tech thing, then Bo just goes, oh, press these 3 buttons, job fixed. Or sometimes we've got to go back to suppliers. Or sometimes it'll be something that we think, oh, if we're having that problem, all of you are probably having that same issue. How do we communicate and how do we get that through to you and solve that problem as well? So we'll get out of our Slack, because it's a bit weird, and I'll show you some of the things that Slack as a product can actually do inside your business. So we have ours set up very differently than normal because we've been using it for a very long time and we know what works and what doesn't work. But this is literally just a communication tool. It is on every device. Doesn't matter if you've got an Android, an Apple, iPads, phones, computers, whatever, it is on every device. And we have trades guys using this. We have franchises who are using Slack, who then have their franchise people inside different Slack teams. And the franchise people are chatting about things like marketing tactics or sales tactics, or they're chatting about equipment that might not be right, or something that they've found on a job site and they've been able to change these 2 things and it has meant that they can then do all of these other bits and pieces. Or I've gone to this location today and they've got some type of roadworks or some type of other works happening over here. I know such and such is booked to go there for the next couple of days. Here's what you need to think about. So the applications for this are so broad, it's just mind-blowing, but you've got to understand the problem that you're trying to solve. And when you're looking at any internal applications, whether you're looking at workflow for yourself, whether you're looking at communication for yourself, whether you're even looking at what's the best receipt style app to be using, or how you're going to monitor or do any social or marketing or whatever else you're thinking about, you've got to understand the problems that you're trying to solve and why they're problems in the first place. So Slack can literally do heaps of stuff. You can have channels where you just talk to everyone. You can have channels where you only include certain people. So we had like some closed channels, some private channels in our Slack that not everyone in the team sees, but only a couple of us do, depending on what we're working on. I'm part of a lot of different Slack organisations. So for boards, we will often have a closed board channel inside Slack for only communicating about board related matters and issues, which is a private channel. And then you can just randomly chat and direct message to people if you really want to as well. So if any of you have got really young employees, they just love that stuff. Us oldies, we don't really care about those things. But you can drag and drop any type of file, which means if you've got a marketing plan that you're working on, or the presentation slide that you want approval from someone, or you want someone else to have a look at what's going on, it's really easy to just drag and drop those things in and say, hey guys, what do you think about this? You can get all of your feedback. People can react. So there's reactions. You can do thumbs up, thumbs down, or if you've got nerds, they can create you custom emojis. So inside Growthwise, we have happy Steph as an emoji, and we have tired hungry Steph as an emoji, and we have cranky Steph as an emoji. So I don't ever use cranky Steph, but everyone else in the team uses cranky Steph to react to different things. So you can have some fun, but it really does make that huge difference. One of the reasons we've loved implementing Slack for many of our clients is what it does is it makes you think about how every single thing you do in your business integrates, and how every single component of your business fits together. Because Slack has, you know, all your tools in the one spot. If you're using Asana for project management or Trello for project management as an example, you can throw into Slack every single time a job is complete, or every single time a milestone is reached, so that everyone in the team automatically knows where things are up to without having to go into 27 different applications as well. You can integrate your Google Suite or your Dropbox suite, so it's auto pulling files from wherever you want it to be, and people aren't having to open 27,000 different applications at the same time. You can pull in all of your Twitter stuff. You can pull in marketing metrics. You can pull in sales data and metrics. It is literally so open that you could pull in whatever it is that you want to. And it makes you constantly think about everything you're using in your business. Who thinks that they have fantastic tools automatically set up for marketing in their business? Come on, I know there's a couple of you who are killing it in that area. Joshua, put your hand up. Some of you are doing really well in other areas, but there are a ton of things that a lot of you are neglecting. Lots of you have nailed Xero, right? You're really good at it. You know what you're doing, simple, you've nailed batch payments, your customers are perfect, you reconcile every day, it's exciting. But then you're not taking that automation to every single other part of your business. How many of you send out newsletters to any of your customers or clients? Updates to tell them what's going on, what's good news, what's bad news, what are some cool things that you found. Who here reads my weekly Ninja News every week without fail? There are a couple of you, because guess what? I have those statistics and I can see. I know, don't worry. I had someone unsubscribe last week. And guess what? That notification goes straight into Slack, so the entire team knows that that person had unsubscribed. And within 2 minutes, the person had resubscribed with another email address. Stuff like that is really important for you to be keeping all of your customers informed about all the different types of services that you actually provide and everything that is going on inside your businesses and why those things are going on inside your businesses. How many of you don't send out a newsletter, an email newsletter, because it's too hard? Be honest. It's too hard to get a database together. It's too hard to get a template together, and you don't know actually what to send. Be really honest now. There's a bottle of wine for honesty as well tonight. Yeah, there you go. So if you don't know what to send out, if you don't know what to say in a newsletter, having stuff like Slack is really, really super simple. So I wrote Xero tips. I wrote a Xero tip of the week for like 30 weeks straight. Where do you think I got all of the things that I needed to write about every single week? We have an automated, there's a Xero support channel in our Slack, and all of the Xero questions that come into our office are then automatically pumped to that Xero support channel. And I just literally open the channel every single week, sit down and go blah, 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 blah. This is how you solve this problem, publish, job done. Do you know how many clients we got just as to be clients from reading a Xero tip of the week? Most of those were written with wine. On a Sunday afternoon, bang, 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 15 minutes, done. Here's some pictures. This will make things easy. Done. And the only reason that I understood and could write that content very quickly is because there was an automated thing to tell me what I needed to write about. Who loves reading articles that are going to help them be a better business leader or understand marketing better or doing any of those other bits and pieces? We all enjoy something different to read. You can set up automated things that will send articles into Slack for you so that you actually have an automated reading list that you can then say, okay, I don't want to read that one, but I want to read this one, and I don't want to read that one, but I want to read this one. How do you think I get Weekly Ninja News articles to you guys every week? Because there's always a minimum of 4, but most of the time there are 5 articles in Weekly Ninja News every week on everything from leadership to marketing to tech to something else. Does anyone want to guess? I've got automated things. I literally bookmark something in Medium and it sends it to the Slack channel called Weekly Ninja News. Or I'll be reading something on LinkedIn and it automatically, I press the buttons and it automatically sends to Weekly Ninja News channel in Slack. And then I choose what I think are the best for the week. But if those things weren't automated, fat chance me spending 3 hours every single Friday to send out Weekly Ninja News. It's just not going to happen. Something else would come up, there'd be some other priority and it would never happen. But with automation and with thinking about how you're going to process those things and thinking about what your routines need to be, it's really easy to do them. How many of you get a new client and their email address goes into your database? A few of you? Do you know that you can automate all of that? So if you get a new client and you've invoiced them, there'll be an email address attached to that. You can automate that to go into your database as an example. You can automate then sending them a welcome to Growthwise email if you want to. You might be able to send them the last 5 Weekly Ninja Newses or whatever you want to do from an automatic perspective. You may decide that you want someone to pull up all of your new clients' social media profiles automatically get them into Slack so that the rest of your team just have to press a couple of buttons. All of this stuff is easily doable with automation. So I'm going to send everyone a link, a couple of links to some really good Slack videos. But here's an example of all of the different applications that integrate to Slack. This is why I wanted to use Slack as an example tonight. It is a fantastic communication tool. It's the base. Every single business can benefit from having a communication tool to bring in all those processes, to bring in live updates, to bring in learning, to bring in the statistics from a sales perspective, from a marketing perspective, and what's actually happening in the business to keep everyone informed so that they're not in the dark. But there are so many other tools that you can then start to connect in that will paint a really beautiful picture of what you're trying to do and where you're up to for the entire team. The whole idea of tonight was to show you we really need to get Xero working perfectly. But ultimately, it's all about you creating brilliant processes and great routines. That's super important. If you have those processes and routines down pat, all your data entry will be fantastic. You'll be able to search for whatever you want to, and the time spent in all of those things will be a lot less than what you're doing now. That's the big point. And lastly, looking at some of these different add-ons and different applications to get your brain thinking, what else do I need to be looking at internally that is really going to help my business grow, that is really going to help your business just in those simple things with your team, with communication, with automating as much as you possibly can, and therefore allowing you to do so much more and provide more value for your end customers. So this whole app space, this whole tool space is just an absolute minefield. I literally could still be here in a week's time with no sleep, going 24 hours for the next 7 days, talking to you about different tools that will do different things. But this is about getting your brains to process what are the problems that you would like to solve? What are the things that you would like to get automated? What are the communication things that you wish you could do internally that you're not quite doing now? And then we can keep some of this nice dialogue going and keep those questions coming so that we can hopefully solve some more of your problems. So the bar will remain open. We'll be here for a little while. If you've got some tricky questions, just track down one of the ninja shirt wearing kids and we will be good to go. And Emma's yelling at me because I didn't hand out wine. So Latina definitely gets a wine. I'm just going to point because otherwise Emma's going to go, I can't see people, back of the heads, what's going on? Run, 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 run. You can all get up and mingle and have some fun and drink. And Emma. Oh yes, and if people want to talk to the experts, because clearly we're experts, but we're not experts. So we have the wonderful Expensify actually here tonight, all the way from Sydney. Yes. Melbourne. Oh, Jesus. All the way from Melbourne. Everyone needs to go talk to Mr. Expensify. If you've got any questions about apps and add-ons and all those different things, lots of you are also using different things in your business as well. So share, tell each other what's working and what's not, because that's the best advantage for all business owners alike. And Emma will bring around wine. Yay! On out.